Welcome back to Divine Love Talk. Today I'm so excited to announce the new book by my co-host Kim Michaels called The Spiritual Road to Self-Esteem. And I'm also very happy to have my intern here, Vanessa Benjamin. She and I both went over the book this weekend. And Vanessa, you texted me, and what did you think about the book for young people?
It's transformational.
And what did you think in terms of sharing it with other young people?
I thought that this should be like mandatory literature. I mean, for people who are teens or young adults, because, it helps you not waste your life on, fruitless endeavors.
Right?
Yeah.
Which we have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, Kim, I am so grateful to you for the huge body of work that you managed to put out. I don't know how you do this, but I think that this is one of the most important books right now to help lift the entire planet out of this morass of depression and anxiety and panic and popping pills and
Right.
Stress. I mean, that's like the biggest problem that everyone is encountering. I know certainly I'm dealing with a lot of it that's work related. So I think that this is one of the panaceas, Kim, for helping people find their way out of the darkness and into the light. So welcome, Kim Michaels.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear you like it.
Oh, you can see we're so excited.
Oh, yeah. I was pretty lost, for a couple of weeks, and this is exactly what I needed. I asked for this, So it helped me get right back on track.
Yeah, well, often in our society, we are brought up without really having what I call true self-esteem. And instead of that, we go into these two things that I call me-esteem and we-esteem. And me-esteem is really where you're focused on raising yourself up compared to other people. You are trying to stand out from the crowd and say, hey, here I am, I'm better, my parents are richer, I have a bigger car, I have a better education, I have this, I have that. And that's me-esteem. And we-esteem is kind of the opposite, where you try not to draw any attention to yourself. You try to blend into a group, so you kind of disappear. But you still get a sense of I'm somebody because I belong to this group. And I think that the obvious problem with both of them is that it is so dependent on other people's view of you. And how can that be self-esteem? You're always looking for validation from somebody else, and that's not what I see as self-esteem, because self-esteem has to come from inside yourself. And it's just like the song was saying, if your self-esteem is dependent on other people's validation, they can take it away because they're giving it to you.
Yes. Well, Guy Ritchie, I always refer people to that movie Revolver because it's very spiritually based. And he says, he calls all of us approval junkies. And I think that that's the epitome of me-esteem and we-esteem, because even with we-esteem, it's like you got to put other people down in order to feel better. You got to make people less than. And then it's the same thing with we-esteem. It's our group is superior to your group, or they will ostracize you if you don't belong to the in crowd. It's like the insiders and the outsiders. And if you become an individual and you don't comply with the group or the Borg mentality, then that group will gang up on you, as I know very well. So
yes, just as they will support you if you conform,
yes,
they will turn on you very, very quickly.
Yes, so it's a very treacherous kind of slippery slope, to deal. It's like you have to sell your soul to be a part of the we-esteem and your identity. And what were you going to say, Vanessa?
Well, I just realized that it seems like everyone is motivated by these two dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in myself how, maybe I don't want to get out of bed because maybe I shouldn't do something because it's not going to, be praised by someone else, and that's not going to, build
or they're
my
going to
esteem.
disapprove of you.
Exactly. So what's the point of trying anything if no one's going to see it or no one's going to like it,
And also, Kim, the other thing is when you're working with the light or in the light, there's always this group that's going to attack you,
Yeah.
The accuser of the brethren, it's called in Revelation. And the Alice Miller, this wonderful psychologist, calls it soul murder. If they can't murder you physically, they will murder your soul and they will gang up on you. So it's very, very difficult to let your light shine when it's like the hounds of the Baskervilles are coming after you just for shining it.
Yeah, but it's difficult because we have been tricked into thinking that we have to produce a certain outer result and we have to get a certain reaction from other people. I mean, when you're talking about this letting your light shine, I think that's an extremely important topic for spiritual people, because I have seen it in myself. I've seen so many people who, when they are relatively new to the spiritual path, they are actually seeking to get approval from others by expressing their spiritual beliefs or letting their light shine, as you call it. And that is disastrous, because we in most cases won't get it, because there are so many people that just don't understand the spiritual side of life. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because I realized that when it comes to self-esteem, those of us who are spiritual, we're actually worse off than most other people. because for most of our lives we've had these inner questions that nobody else wants to talk about.
Yes.
We've had a sense of being different, and we have been put down for that.
Yes, and attacked.
And so it's harder for us to fit into this big group in society, and that's one reason why, for example, some people get attracted to cults, because when you fit yourself into a cult environment, you get the approval of the group as long as you fit in and don't question it. And that's very unfortunate, and it could all be avoided if people had a deeper understanding, so that when it comes to expressing your light and being who you are, you can't really do it to get approval. You have to do it because it gives you a sense of joy and fulfillment to express who you are. Of course, you have to know who you are first, and that's part of what the book is all about.
Well, and the oracle at Delphi says to know thyself, and the biggest trick that has been pulled on, I think, society is hiding our true self. And that was one of the beautiful things that you reveal in the book, is how you show us a path to finding your true self and your true identity. And as long as that's hidden from, it's not in the educational system, and it's actually condemned for us to be able to teach that, then young people will turn to drugs. They're going to turn to gangs. They're going to turn to alternative methods of trying to find some kind of esteem.
I was just kind of going off on what Kim said about how, people who start out in the spiritual, on the path, they first do it to kind of get approval from people. And I think that's probably what I was doing. And now I'm realizing I'm more alienated than I probably ever was before. I don't really have any desire to fit into any group
anymore.
And at the same time, I was like, wow, I'm doing all this stuff and nobody likes me.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And that's a rude awakening, and actually a very good awakening, when you realize that you've been doing things to conform to other people and to get their approval, whether it's your parents or your friends, and they're talking about you behind your back and they don't like you anyway.
Yeah.
So what is the point? You're selling yourself out. And I saw that at a very early age. But Kim, what I loved about your book was the fact that you had the courage to share your personal journey without, going into too much detail. And you also didn't condemn anybody. You didn't condemn yourself. And that's very difficult to do when you're talking about your own personal journey. So I really want to applaud you on how well you did that in the book.
Well, but I think that's also one of the effects of acquiring over time, and for me it took many years, but acquiring a true sense of self-esteem is that you can actually talk about yourself because you're not trying to put on a facade.